He's Omar, I'm Majid, we're the substitutes, and today we blitz all night. Sol Campbell is a proven winner at Tottenham, at Arsenal, at Portsmouth. Rio Ferdinand broke the transfer fee record twice, going to Leeds and then going to Manchester United. John Terry is the EPL's all-time highest scoring defender. Omar, help me separate three of the greatest English defenders, especially in the EPL. How do you separate them? Who would you pick?
So I think you actually answered the question. I don't think we need to do a video on it. Sol Campbell won at Spurs. He won at Spurs. Like,
Well done, very
end,
well done. That's it.
end of
It's a
discussion,
wrap,
dude.
folks.
Yeah. Um, Look, sorry. Like when I read that, I was like, I know that he transferred from Spurs, but I didn't know he won a trophy with them. I think that was the last trophy they won. But
That was
look, he's a
news to me.
quality defender. He's a quality defender. But for me, I'm gonna be biased. I love Ferdinand. I thought he was a player of all eras, and it's look. He's often described as the Rolls Royce of defenders. He was so elegant on the ball. He read the game so very well. And he was integral to United's success. And this is no more apparent than when he was banned for 8 months for missing a drug test. United's season fell apart, coincidentally to Sol Campbell's Arsenal, the Invincibles. And United were top in January, and after Ferdinand was banned, they just fell apart. The guy was, for me, Ferdinand was incredible. He set a Premier League record of 14 consecutive clean sheets. His positional play was excellent, like I mentioned. He was very elegant, but he could be physical and very dominant as well. There were games where they had to battle it out, and him and Vidic were rocks. He would dominate players in the air. He ended his career with 6 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League, 1 Club World Cup, and 2 League Cups. Glaringly, he never won an FA Cup, and he was in the Team of the Year 6 times.
Very fair, very fair. Well, like number one, with statistics, each one of these guys has crazy stats to go with them. Like
Yeah.
really, really, if you, Sol Campbell, he won at Tottenham. Video over. He won 2 EPLs. He won 2 FA Cups. He scored in the Champions
Uh,
League final. I know we're talking EPL. I know we're talking EPL. And then he won. He beat United for the FA Cup, denying Ferdinand apparently. He was also the first black captain to lift a major trophy at Wembley. I just found this kind of interesting, and like shout out to him. Sol Campbell was also sort of a very physical presence, both in the air and on the ground, and he worked with clearly a number of different defenders and had different defending partners and different coaches. I think like I always like to look at like who they were surrounded by as well. Ferdinand, you can argue he had one coach and one partner, more or less. I just wonder if that would factor into your analysis.
Look, like I said, my personal preference is Ferdinand. I'm not knocking Terry or Campbell. When Campbell, he kind of suited Arsene Wenger's Arsenal's in terms of their defense in his, let's say, in his glory years before he kind of fell apart. He inherited that 98 defense, that infamous 98 defense were mean. And when he signed Sol Campbell, Arsene Wenger said something. He's like, in training, it was really good for his forwards because they could never get past him. And it's like, that's never really happened to them before. So he was a beast. He was very physical, and that echoed the toughness of the 1998 Arsenal. And that's why we can say that the Invincibles had a lot of grit. Defense was a big part of that. They weren't just a flair side. He blocked shots well. He sweeped up. He was deceptively fast, by the way. He was a wall. And one of the things I really liked about him, I know that you mentioned Ferdinand had one coach, one manager, but Ferdinand played with both Campbell and Terry. And they both shined on the international stage at some point, like Sol Campbell did in 2002. John Terry, well, I wouldn't say he shined. He had some moments, but he played well with Ferdinand as well. So I think that's my key component there. Ferdinand makes other players better.
The one knock, I guess, or the one issue, I guess, with Sol Campbell would be he's very, very defensive. His passing's not he's not necessarily known for his passing, whereas Rio was a little bit better going forward, or even a little bit pressing wise, a little bit more physical, or man to man even. In that way, what about John Terry? John Terry was both a rock, a wall this way, and he could go forward. Or he scored. He was a English Sergio Ramos sometimes.
He was, and look, this is what you touched upon this, and this is the point I want to make about Terry eventually, right? I'll come back to that point. Don't know why I mentioned it, but
Cool.
John Terry was such a rock. He's a type of player, forget about his personal life, I'm talking about him purely as a defender. One of my most standout memories for him was, I think, right before the Champions League final, he got injured. I can't remember if it was something happened to him, like in the final day of the season in 08, and they thought he was going to miss the final. And he came back for it. I don't know if that was mind games or what, but he came back. And it was in the first half of extra time. Giggs had a shot. Basically, he just had to pass it into a goal. And I just remember, and apologies for the viewers at home for this, but Terry kind of jumped one way and realized the ball was going the other. So he kind of contorted his head, and I'm sorry again for that, but like the way he moved his head, I was just like, I don't know how he actually did that in midair and stopped a certain goal. And that's who he was. He was very aggressive, very physical. He positioned himself well. He was dominant in the air. And some argued his positional play was excellent. When you look at it, he's more of a stopper who played with great players. He organized the backline really well, I'll give him that. But he played in some great defenses, such as Richard Carvalho. That's one that was predominantly excellent. I can't remember who his partner was after that, but he also played with Rio on the international stage.
Ivanovic was there for a while.
Ivanovic, yeah, okay. Now that's a quality defender as well. The thing about my other endearing image of Terry was that he was very, very slow. Zlatan Ibrahimovic outran him when Zlatan was in his mid-30s. And John Terry wasn't. I don't think he might have just been 30, but it was so glaringly obvious how slow he was. So he couldn't play in the defensive line, and he didn't really carry the ball out so well. He was quite safe in possession. But he still had a glittering career. 5 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, 1 Europa League, 1 Champions League. By the way, just a point earlier, Sol Campbell won 4 FA Cups. And the thing I wanted to relate between the two of them, that I think, for me, why Ferdinand stands out, I don't think Terry and Campbell could have played in this era. Or, like, Campbell was representative of his era. Terry played for a very long time, but I don't think he could play in a defensive line. Whereas I think Ferdinand is a Virgil van Dijk type of defender. Or rather, Van Dijk is a Ferdinand type of defender. He could play in all eras. They're both very, very classy.
What about Sol Campbell? Could he survive in today's...
Look, he's fast. He was deceptively fast. My source is The Sun, so I don't know how reliable that is, but he is fast, according to The Sun.
Video over.
Yeah, so, but like you said, he was a very physical defender. He didn't really pass so well. He was more of a sweeper. So I personally, I don't know, but I could be proven wrong. He's a professional footballer, I'm not. But I just don't think he would have... I think he was a product of his era. And the things that I heard about him, what I mentioned about Wenger saying about him, that's actually why he was picked to make it as a youngster because he was so physical. That's what you needed in the Premier League back then. People were strong, they didn't just dive around.
Yeah, yeah, stay on your feet. By the way, John Terry is also linked in some way. He is the first captain to lift the FA Cup at the new Wembley versus United. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
I remember that match.
It's interesting to note, just randomly, all three of them were captains for their club.
Yep,
So if
deservedly so. They were excellent defenders. I'm not knocking them. They were all. Sol Campbell was part of the Invincibles. John Terry, he dominated the league for so many years. He did. I mean, look, we all make fun of his Champions League wearing his clothes and celebrating in the final, but he played an integral role in that final, reaching that final. If he hadn't, who did he? If he hadn't need someone in the back, I don't think Chelsea would have made that final. So I think he was integral to to them reaching the final. Jokes aside, he was great. And Rio, come on, let's be honest. That guy is just pure class.
Yep, yep, yep. I think this is one of those crazy debates where, like, on any given day, anyone can be right with any given stat or with any given highlight. You're right. Like, Sol Campbell is brilliant. JT is amazing. Rio Ferdinand is fascinating. Is incredible to watch.
Like I said, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. You guys give us your opinions. We'd really be interested to know between Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, and John Terry. Who would you guys select? Who do you think was the best? And who had the biggest impact in the EPL or on their club? Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace out.